Certainly we know that the Torah relates to our everyday lives. In the recent Parshas, we heard most specifically from Rabbi Perlson, there's been a great deal of a conversation about Jacob and Esau, Yaakov and Esau, two brothers who couldn't be any more different. And I believe the commentary states that even from the moment of conception, they were so different. Esau being the hunter, the very physical one, and Yaakov being the more creative, perhaps soft-spoken brother. So very different. Well, the commentary says that in spite of those differences, they were educated the same way for the first 13 years of their lives. Well, we know that one-size-fits-all approach to education didn't work then, and it doesn't work today. Our superintendent knows that. Through his innovative programs, whether it's the iPrep Academy for those who are more technologically inclined, or for the environmental programs, we have a school called Terra, or in law enforcement and a number of other academies, he understands that the one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. So I guess it's too bad that Superintendent Carvalho wasn't there for Yaakov and Esau to kind of make sure that they got the right education, that their different needs were understood. But fortunately for us, he is here today, and he is with us in this community. He is not only recognized locally and statewide, he's recognized nationally for all of his accomplishments. So I am truly proud and privileged to be able to introduce to you the superintendent of the 4th largest school district in the nation, Mr. Alberto Carvalho.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much, Dr. Karp, for that very kind introduction. It's moments like this that I hope my mom was around to hear so many nice things about me. The history of me that she remembers wasn't so nice, so she tells me. Let me begin by really thank a beautiful couple who I didn't know, but I knew of, Israel and Tania. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home. Both rabbis that spoke and provided so many words of wisdom. I do agree that every time we give, we build something. And it is with that in mind that I do my work every single day alongside the 9 board members in Miami-Dade. There's that giving education, of giving oneself, giving of one's heart, giving of one's intellect. We are in fact building something good, something that we can all be proud of. I came in here actually thinking about delivering a different speech, a different conversation that I decided sitting there to engage you in tonight. I don't think tonight is a night for speeches, at least not from me. I sat there and I did something that I seldom do. I listened attentively and actually learned something. I didn't learn something that will necessarily enlarge my intellect, but I certainly heard something that expanded my heart. And that, many times, is equally important, if not more important, he agrees, than that which you read to enrich your intellect. So as part of my brief conversation, I'd like to pick up on some of the tones that I heard, and hopefully they resonated with you, because they certainly resonated with me. Speak less about a technical conversation about education and about the school board than about our accomplishments. For example, I promise I will not tell you that we are right now considered the highest performing urban district in America for a district our size. I won't tell you about the fact that as you open the Miami Herald tomorrow, the day after, you will see a headline that says Miami-Dade's children, presumably one of the poorest, richest community in America, Miami-Dade's children are outperforming their counterparts across the country compared to the big cities of Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, LA, Washington, D.C., and beyond. I will not tell you that 3.5 years ago, the graduation rates in Miami-Dade, we're about 50 to 60%. And today, well, not today, in 2 weeks they will be announced. And we will be ever so close to 80%. And perhaps I shouldn't tell you that 3.5 years ago, there were about 9 schools, all of them in the inner city, plagued by poverty and despair, but standing as the only beacons of hope in those communities. Perhaps I shouldn't tell you that every one of those 9 schools for the previous 5 to 6 years had never been anything more than an F, and I'm not advocating letter grade designation that stand as scarlet letters in schools, but I certainly am advocating for the literacy of young men and women. And 3.5 years ago, 9 of these schools were being threatened with a shutdown by the state of Florida for performance, and today every one of those 9 schools is a C or a B, and this year they will post graduation rates in excess of 80%. So I will not tell you about the miracles that happened in Miami-Dade, but I will tell you a little bit about the miracle workers that dwell in Miami-Dade. People like Israel and Tania, who, as I sat there, they didn't say much, but what they do is so loud they can hardly hear what they say. More important than the individuals who speak rhetoric and speak so loudly, even as a minority in this nation, that fill a vacuum, having you believe that we are a country of dissent, a country of less than compassionate living, they actually choose to do something. And I will always have absolute reverence for those who can and have the ability to do something and actually engage in a loving action of dignifying humanity by lifting up somebody. Regardless of social condition, social status, possession, they look beyond that and they target the heart. You see, most of what is important to me, and it's so whimsical that I would commend tonight into this theme, Le Door Vador, from generation to generation, because everything that I treasure as knowledgeable and important to me, I learned many years ago. I learned it from a man named José. José was my father, and I was born to a large family of 6 in Lisbon, Portugal. I grew up in a small little 1-bedroom home, an apartment with no running water, no kitchen, no bathroom. Yes, the privileges and the pleasures of taking a shower twice a day, as I do now, were non-existent there. What my parents lacked in possession, they made up with passion and dignity and humanity, with love. All elements that, as I watch the 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. news today, are scarce, it appears. But deep down inside, I know they are still part of the fabric of America. I learned it from José because 2 weeks from now, we're going to be celebrating an important time of the year. Extremely important time of the year. And I remember José because he used to, at that time of the year, about 45 years ago, he used to bring out a small little tin box. And he used to open the box very reverently and pull out some candles and line them up. And he used to light up one candle, let one drop of wax fall, and then stick it so that it would not fall. And then he would do that with all of the candles and line them up one at a time. And in his Portuguese, he used to, in Portuguese, say, "In the flicker of the flame, I pray." In the flicker of the flame, in Portuguese. It took me many years to understand what he meant. Actually, it took me a long time. You see, I went to Israel about 1.5 years ago, and a lot of the tales that I thought were fiction that my father used to tell me became very much alive. That's why from generation to generation, history is written. But written history only resonates in somebody's heart if you actually learn something. And here's what I learned. What worked in America for the past 200 years must continue to work for America over the next 200. The rhetoric of some, the policy of dissent, those who attempt to push ideology over reason needs to stop. In fact, our nation is ripe for a rapid regression to reason. days of goodness. I do not embrace those who believe that somehow defaulting on our debt is any better than defaulting on ourselves. I do not believe those who seek to look for a better future by examining what Finland or Singapore or China are doing, but I absolutely believe in the reinvention of America by reinventing ourselves into a better version of America. We did not come here, and we were not born here to be a cheap imitation of a second-rate version of ourselves. I came here not speaking English to reinvent and become a better me. Somehow being given a God-given gift of somehow being given this opportunity to live not only my life, but the life that my father wanted to live himself. And there is no greater honor than seeing a parent feeling pride for who you are. Particularly because this father feels he passed the baton of humanity up. Not because of possession, but because of wisdom, because of heart, kindness, love, passion, and compassion. So today I feel America is at a crossroads. It is at a crossroads because to a certain extent we've lost our way. We bicker with ourselves, we choose parties rather than choosing the right way. We embrace philosophies that are empty but sound good. We expect immediate gratification. We expect results for a cheap day's worth of work. We expect things to be given to us rather than embracing that love called work in action. So in losing our way, we have lost our place in the world. From an economic perspective, as the holders of the high moral ground on this earth, we are willing to almost compromise those positions. And in so doing, I believe that we are risking somehow passing on to these beautiful children that sang that so inspirational song, a quality of life that will match our own or perhaps even be improved. Is that not the wish of every father, mother, grandparent, or teacher? To pass the baton of humanity up, not down. And is it not true, if we do not right by them, that we could be risking, for the first time in the history of America, us passing on to the generation that will follow us a quality of life inferior to the one we benefited from ourselves? That is why, in a full circle, I think of Yosef today, my father, my Abba. Because I was inspired to do so because of the love I saw in this picture of your family. The gifts of actions that you engage in, having so much but giving so much more. You see, he gave me no possession, but he gave me everything I am. The very last thing he told me before I came to this country, when I was 17, embarking on a journey that would have me scrubbing more pots and pans, doing more roofing work, and cutting more potatoes and dicing tomatoes than I thought existed possibly on God's green earth. He told me, Alberto, do as Albert Einstein said. And my father, remarkable man, my mom and dad had 6th grade education. That's combined, neither one of them got past 3rd grade. But he read. And his idol was Albert Einstein. I always thought he named me Alberto out of reverence for the man. He said, do as Albert Einstein said, that it's best to be a man of values than a man of possession. And Alberto, no matter where you go, there you are. You can change your clothing, but you will not be able to change your soul. You are born with it. So my friends, let me conclude by simply saying this. I will not talk about the technicalities of public education. I will not talk about the debate in America, because I know we are better than that. And these young men and women who we often criticize of somehow being different than we were, they are. They are in fact better. We are just looking at them through a different lens. The exact same lens our parents looked at us through. They sure are different. And then we grew up into people who somehow did something good. I will never measure up to an Israel or Tania, because your heart is good.